Good morning. Good morning. Thank you for the response. I appreciate it. Good morning and welcome all to the Sunday morning service at the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship in Laguna Beach. My name is Pamela Flodman, and I have been lucky to be attending UUFLB since about 2008. I will be serving as your worship associate for today, and we are absolutely delighted to welcome Reverend Tom Owen-Towle back to UUFLB as our guest minister today. Each Sunday, anywhere there is a service held in a Unitarian Universalist congregation, a chalice is lit. The flaming chalice is the symbol of our faith. If you have joined us this morning by Zoom, I invite you to light a chalice within your home as I light the chalice for us here at UUFLB. Our chalice lighting words today are from Reverend Tom Goldsmith, who served the First Unitarian Church of Salt Lake City for 34 years before retiring last year. Symbol of light and knowledge, symbol of warmth and freedom, we light the chalice as a symbol of our faith. Here we gather to celebrate hope and the infinite possibilities of love. Today, we are continuing our series of hybrid worship services. For today's service, we have members and friends who have gathered in person at the fellowship building here in Laguna Beach. We are masked and physically distanced to stay safe here within the building, as well as others who are joining us from many remote locations this morning by Zoom. The ability to be together both in person and virtually is indeed one of the unexpected joys we could not have imagined several years ago. We are a small but strong community with potential to reach beyond the four walls of this building here in Laguna Beach. At UUFLB, we are a welcoming congregation. Whatever has brought you here this morning, we welcome you to our community of mutual caring and serious intent to grow as spiritual and moral beings. And I'd like to read this morning some welcoming words, which were written by Unitarian Universalist Marilyn Falkowski. We welcome you. We know you come here for different reasons: to find community, to seek your spiritual and personal truths, to question, to nurture your heart and soul, to be nurtured, to explore new ideas, to find comfort, and perhaps to find the answers to some of your bigger questions. We welcome you. We know you come from different places, different religions, different beliefs, different backgrounds. We hope you will find comfort, connection, challenge, and love here. We hope you will find ways to provide outreach to each other within our congregation, outreach in our local community, and in our world community. Welcome to all. It is good to be together this morning in all the ways that we join together in worship. And this morning, I would like to express my thanks to all those who work together to make everything run smoothly at UUFLB. Our board for their careful stewardship in support of UUFLB. Candy and Paul, who work to prepare the building on Sunday mornings, make sure the entryway is swept, there are candles and fresh coffee, and that the candles are lit and ready for us to light our chalice. Audiovisual crew with Don working his magic as our Zoom tech. Paul, who is today stepping in to oversee the audiovisuals in the sanctuary, and Paul is pointing to my daughter, Dara, who is also helping to handle the audiovisuals today. And many thanks to our worship committee members who've been hard at work arranging meaningful worship services. On the slide that Dawn will put up for us now is a list of the upcoming services for the month of February. So next week on February 13th, We are indeed fortunate that a favorite UUFLB guest speaker, Emmeline Cordingley, will be returning to UUFLB to lead our service. And on February 20th, another favorite UUFLB guest minister, Reverend Raina Hamry, will be again joining us at UUFLB to continue an exploration of thresholds. And at the end of the month, on February 27th, we will be having a social justice service and welcoming Charles Langley of the group Public Watchdogs. And for our service today, as I said, we are absolutely delighted to welcome back to our fellowship Reverend Tom Owen-Towle, who has been a friend of UUFLB for many years and a frequent guest minister. I love the bio which Reverend Tom has provided for us, the written bio, because I think it really captures his personality and the good humor that I have noticed he brings when he's relating with others. The Reverend Dr. Tom Owen-Towle has been a parish minister since 1967 and is still preaching hither and yon, now mainly via Zoom, throughout our continent. In fact, I think next week he's going to be in Bemidji, so covering a lot of ground. Pre-COVID, Tom sang frequently in nursing homes, and I hope that he will soon be able to again bring this gift to his community. He also mentors young people and volunteers at the local San Diego Homeless Center and is the author of 24 books, the latest of which is Making Peace with Our Own Death. And his books are available at the UUA bookstore. They're also available through Amazon.com, and they're definitely worth looking for. In fact, I think maybe Reverend Tom might even be willing to sign a book if one of us were to ask him to do so. So thank you, Reverend Tom, for joining us this morning at UUFLB. We are honored to have you here with us as our guest minister. Reverend Tom writes that an all-embracing love, both human and divine, furnishes the governing principle of our Unitarian Universalist gospel. Simple as that. Today, he will be offering us a bunch of reminders of this simple truth, easy to state, but tough to heed. So following today's service, I hope that you have time to stay for a bit and connect with each other and with Reverend Tom. Both those of you who are here in the fellowship building and also our attendees on Zoom during the virtual cafe. Coming together to share our ideas and our hopes and our vision, this is how we are building strong community together and how we can make a difference in the world. So our centering thought for today was chosen by Reverend Tom, and it is from Zen Buddhist John Tarrant. So the words of the centering thought will be up on your screen. And if you are joining us from home, you may unmute yourself as we read the words of our centering thought together. Like the stars
over dark fields.
is the gift.
Love is a gift of the eternal forces.
We do not
We do not know why it appears. It is just a song the universe sings to itself. And like other beauties, it is a demanding guest.
Yes.
As soon as love arrives, we have to serve it. We were naked, and now must put on clothes and work. John Tarrant.
Work.
Good.
Our opening hymn this morning is number 123, Spirit of Life. So we invite those of you who are attending by Zoom to sing out from home, even though you are muted, and the words will be in the chat. In the fellowship building, we may join the music by humming quietly, softly singing the words together with Carole. Again, the hymn is number 123 in the gray hymnal, Spirit of Life. And please enjoy the music of our amazing, talented musical director, Carole Cole.
Good morning, everyone. Please join me in Spirit of Life. Spirit of life, come unto me. Sing in my heart all the stirrings of compassion. Lord, when the wind rise in the sea, move in the hand, giving life shape of justice. Roots hold me close, wings set me free. Spirit of life, come to me, come to me.
Our opening words come to us from the Reverend Barbara Wells Tenhove. O spinner, weaver of our lives, your loom is love. May we who are gathered here be empowered by that love to weave new patterns of truth and justice into a web of life that is strong, beautiful, and everlasting.
Let us take a moment now to remind ourselves why we come together as a community. I invite you to read these words together when and if it feels right for you. If you wish, from home, please unmute your microphone so that we can feel the power of joining our voices together. The words of the Unison affirmation will be on your screens, and please join me in reading. Love
Is the spirit of this fellowship, and service is its law.
For great
This is our covenant,
dwell
to
together,
dwell together
in
in peace,
truth,
to seek the truth in love, and to help one another.
you all. Now we will turn to the responsive reading.
If I speak in the tongues of mortals and angels, but do not have love, I am a noisy gong or clanging cymbal.
And if I have prophetic powers and understand all mysteries and knowledge, and if I have faith so as to move mountains, but do not have love, I am nothing.
If I give away all my possessions, and if I hand over my body to be burned, but do not have love, I gain nothing.
Love is patient. Love is kind. Love is not envious or boastful or arrogant or rude. It does not insist on its own way. It is not irritable or resentful. It does not rejoice in wrongdoing, but rejoices in the truth.
It bears all things, believes all things, hopes all things, endures all things. Love never ends. Prophecies will come to an end, tongues will cease, knowledge will come to an end. We know in part, we prophesy in part, but when the complete comes, the partial will come to an end.
When I was a child, I spoke like a child. I thought like a child. I reasoned like a child.
When I became an adult,
No, that's his.
When I became an adult, I put an end to childish ways. Now we see in a mirror, in a riddle.
Then
we will
we see face to face.
Now
Now I know in part,
Then I will know
know
fully.
fully.
Now faith,
Now faith, hope, and love abide. These three,
And the
and the
greatest
greatest of these
is
is
love.
love.
It is as much a blessing to be able to give as it is to receive. In this self-governing, self-sustaining community, we really do recognize that it is our responsibility to do both and to do them well. So as we begin this time of offering, we invite you to give what you will for the work of this fellowship that means so much to each of us, has meant so much to those who came before us, and will mean so much to those who join us in the future. Give what you will. We are a generous people, and we depend on the love and generous contribution from our members. All of our gifts, generously given, are needed for this fellowship and its continued good work in the world. During this time of offering, we are passing a basket within the fellowship, and the information on your screen provides additional ways in which you can give. Please join us now in singing to each other these words of sincere gratitude. From you I receive, to you I give. Together we share, and from this we live.
you are received, to you
I give. Let us join together in some moments of prayer followed by silent meditation. O Spirit of life, of love and liberation, our prayer is simple. Be our partner. Bring us comfort as we face the challenges and torments of the pandemic, of a world split with bigotry and violence, of personal losses and suffering. Comfort us. And also be a challenge, a nudge for those of us who are listless or lacking energy. May there be peace and unrest in our lives, sufficient peace to bring us serenity and calm, to ground us, but enough unrest to keep us morally awake and spiritually on our toes. Peace and unrest, unrest and peace. And let us join together in moments of silent communion. Shalom, salam, ashe, namaste, blessed be, and amen. Well, I want to thank you, Pam, and Kendra, Dara, Don, Carole, the entire Laguna Beach worship crew for coordinating this Zoom service with me today. Someday soon, we will be back together in person, and I'll join you in person from San Diego. In a world of greed, love's the dearest thing we can give or get. In a world of chaos, love delivers order and stability. In a world of impermanence, love's the only gift that isn't lost. After the Apostle Paul's classic ode that we shared this morning in the 13th chapter of 1 Corinthians, he begins the very next chapter with the words, "Make love your aim," as if to say, knowing all you do about the intricacies and difficulties of love, dear people of Corinth, the purpose of religion is simply to increase the odds on love by adding your own precious ounces to the mix. Okay, love's of absolute importance, but it's just that talking about love doesn't get you to the real thing, and preaching about love can in fact be a lousy substitute for being or doing love where it counts in our daily lives, starting this afternoon. Idris Shah, the renowned Sufi scholar, once told an audience after lecturing for 4 hours, which for our UU taste is about 3.5 hours too long. He said, notice I didn't use the actual words God or love once during my talk. Yet everything I mentioned was somehow about these two realities. And so it goes. But sometimes, occasionally, we need to wrestle out loud with the ultimate nature of divine and human existence, with love. And today seems a good time to dive beneath the schmaltz of upcoming Valentine's Day to the heart of the hard yet beautiful blessing we call love. Nothing terribly new in my sermon today. just a bunch of reminders, which are easy to state, yet so hard to heed. So here goes. First off, we simply can't forget that love is primarily a verb rather than a noun. Our purpose in life is not to define love once and for all. It's as futile as defining God. It can't be done. Plus, the exercise isn't all that useful. Our mission on earth is to love, to share, to create, to give, to bear love, to be lovers of nature, ideas, humans, projects, animals, plants, the deities. As our oldest son, Chris, soon to turn 62, put it when he was 13 on his 13th birthday. He wrote, love is a powerful meaning. And when the powerful meaning is used toward another person, it will raise that person eternally. Notice Chris used the word used. You see, finding love to be itself must be a verb. It must be used. When love's a theory, it's safe and free of risk. Love in the brain changes nothing. If love isn't embodied, it ceases to be the real article. Love expends. Love costs. Love loves. A second reminder, for a long while I've thought of love primarily in the active voice, and that's understandable since love isn't a feeling or sentiment. It's an activity. Yet robust love is something not just given, but given and received. And oh, how hard it is for us earthlings to receive love, particularly for productive, outpouring Unitarian Universalist types. The receiving of love may just be for type A folks a more rigorous and riskier act than the giving of love. Progressive 20th century minister Howard Thurman used to say, my heart must be a swinging door that opens in and opens out. And this means that we lovers need others to nurture and caress us. We need to permit others to take care of, even carry us upon occasion. As the song says, he ain't heavy, he's my brother. She ain't heavy, she's my sister. For life's central vow is loving and being loved. Third, our loving is fake unless demonstrated toward those near and dear to us, including family and friends, and yes, ourselves as well. One of life's lamentations is that sometimes we're more adept at delivering love to strangers than to kinfolk, those far off, while dodging the imperative of loving up close. And so I try to balance my love of youth at risk and homeless folk with my own family members. But to do so, I've got to love more caringly because of the smelliness of a noxious or nasty member of my own clan. Yes, loving is to be delivered up close and personal, here and now, with those in our very midst. A similar, easily bypassed reminder of life's central vow is that genuine loving can be difficult. As Rainer Maria Rilke wrote, to love is good, love being difficult. It's even painful, far messier than we ever anticipate or want, particularly for us schmaltzy, syrupy, romantic types. I mean, it's relatively easy, isn't it, to love when we're feeling grand, or to disappear when the going gets rough or even too intimate. What's strenuous is staying at the table, being faithful, holding to the difficult, acknowledging one's thorny past or dreary present, facing another human being with an active gaze and level glance rather than fighting or fleeing. Fidelity is the word. Love being difficult impels us to be strong enough to discipline a child, brave enough to abandon bad habits, large enough to enfold society's outcasts. I mean, just when we think our task is done, love insists upon yet one more demand. Just when we'd rather stay in the periphery of this congregation's life, love calls us to renew our membership vows, to risk entering the center of responsible action, to become a stakeholder. Just when we're lured to coast in a friendship, love reminds us that truthful, trusting communication, more of it is wanted. And just when we'd rather remain comfortably speciest, love impels us to recognize the souls of animals. At a dinner party some time ago, I sat next to a woman who was an oceanographer. At one point, she asked me if I'd ever wondered why lobsters could weigh 1 pound, 3 pounds, even 10 pounds when they had such a hard shell. And I mean, how could they grow? And I had to tell her that resolving this quandary wasn't high on my list. She smiled and proceeded to explain that when a lobster becomes crowded in its shell and can't grow anymore, by instinct, it travels out to some place in the sea, hoping for relative safety, and begins to shed its shell. It's a terribly dangerous process. I mean, the lobster has to risk its life because once it becomes naked, vulnerable, it could be dashed against a reef or eaten by another lobster or fish. But folks, that's the only way it can grow. Well, plenty of times my life mate Carolyn and I, singly and as partners, have known it's time to go to the reef. It's time to grow and change. It's time to become more resourceful, more expansive, more of our better selves. I'm sure you know that nagging creative discontent, that urge to change where and who you are, an unease sufficient to nudge you out of your shell and drive you to the reef. Staying in a tight shell is invariably a metaphor for stagnation. And that's the deep challenge, isn't it? The hard blessing of love, to shed our shells, to go to the reef, to risk enlarging our lives, to break through self-imposed constricting barriers, to open ourselves to the surprising risks and delights of loving and being loved by causes, by humans and gods, by life itself. There's not much new about this vow. It's not terribly fancy. But loving and being loved remains life's central vow. This year and the next and the next. And which will it be for you and me? Right now in our life journey as this pandemic-ridden and morally divisive year unfolds. Love or fear? If you choose love, then you'll have no choice but to sit down and ask yourself what and who you've been put on this hunk of earth to love. And love will crack open your shell. As folk singer, composer Kate Wolf, who tragically died of leukemia at the age of 38, put it in one of her gorgeous songs. You must give yourself to love If love is what you're after, open up your heart to the tears and laughter. Oh, give yourself to love. Give yourself to love. This central vow of loving and being loved came home to Carolyn and me with resounding and clarity and power years ago when we traveled back to the University of Notre Dame, South Bend, Indiana, to participate in a glorious rededication ceremony, because back in 1961, Carolyn's father was commissioned by the university president, Father Theodore Hesburgh, to design a huge granite mural to form the face of what was to be the largest university library in the country at that time. So we'd seen postcards of this 160 by 40 foot granite mural, still the largest of its kind anywhere in the entire world, but we'd never seen it in person. So this wasn't just another trip, this was a pilgrimage to honor Carolyn's father's stunning creation. The university graciously sent us printed and pictorial materials about the mural so that we might prepare ourselves for this long-awaited visit. And Carolyn's late brother, David, had spoken reverently about the Notre Dame Library facade being the 8th wonder of the world. And although his sentiment could be dismissed as mere prejudicial family observation, the actual sight of Jesus, one of life's consummate teachers, with his arms outstretched in a 42-foot wingspan, was simply staggering, overwhelming, drove us to silence and tears. After Miller designed this engineering and artistic masterpiece, it took a quarry in Minnesota over a year to cut the thousands of pieces of different colored granite. And the mural is known to rabid Notre Dame football fans across the land as the Touchdown Jesus, but is more formally called Word of Life. It majestically depicts Jesus as religion's supreme teacher, surrounded by scholars and saints and scribes from the eastern and western branches of Christendom. All the figures are deferentially turning toward Jesus as the culminating religious presence. You'll remember in the Christian scriptures, Jesus reportedly said, "I am the way, the truth, and the life," thereby encouraging pilgrims to experience, if not embrace, his particular pathway to the holy. Now, whether one holds that Jesus is the exclusive or a flawed yet exemplary route to the good life, few of us would dispute that his central truth was one of love. As a practicing Jew, the Nazarene's major lesson was unquestionably loving and being loved, grounded in both scriptures, indeed the scriptures of the world. So here on a Midwestern campus, notably Roman Catholic, Jesus, the teacher of teachers, has been portrayed with compassionate, outstretched arms, welcoming travelers from afar and near, from all corners of the universe to come unto him for challenge and comfort. This magnificent work of art is saying, and I would concur, that the apex of learning is love, that the fount of wisdom is love, that the summation of all the books contained in that library to which Jesus is beckoning is love. And so we continue the road of this pandemic and strife-ridden era as Unitarian Universalist companions. And in so doing, may we heed life's main mission, which remains the same yesterday, today, and tomorrow, namely to welcome people from all stations of life, to welcome individuals of variant classes and convictions, colors and capacities, to welcome people into our midst here in Laguna Beach just as they are, so that they might become whom they choose to become. The heart of our Unitarian Universalist message is universal and everlasting love. Nobody, folks, has a bigger message than ours. And what reminds me of our core message, our gospel, is the colossal mural of Jesus with extending arms, beckoning, inviting, welcoming us to a life of giving and receiving love. There are a lot of things in our human existence that we can't control. But we can control one major thing until we enter our graves. Our central homework assignment, loving and being loved. Refusing to leave the table. Refusing to renege on our commitments. Refusing to walk out on social causes when they become unpopular. Refusing to abandon our faith community over a squabble. Refusing to abandon our friends when they're beleaguered. And refusing to compromise our values when the going gets rough. May that be our vow, within and beyond these sacred parish walls, to love and be loved right where we dwell, not in some distant place of desire. For as feminist author Audre Lorde said, we are the ones we've been waiting for. We are the ones we've been waiting for. Hallelujah. Blessed be. And amen.
Thank you. Thank you, Reverend Tom. I want to go back and read my Audre Lorde again. We are the ones we've been waiting for. Thank you for sharing your words with us this morning. And thank you for being here with us virtually in Laguna Beach and with all who are with us on Zoom this morning. Our closing hymn is number 131, Love Will Guide Us. The words will be in the chat, although I think maybe many people remember these words, but the words will be in the chat, and please join Carole by humming or singing the words to this favorite hymn.
Please join me. Love will guide us, peace is tide us, home inside us, will lead the way on the road from greed to healing. Love will guide us through the hard night. If you cannot sing like angels, if you cannot speak the thousands, you can give from deep within you. You can change the world with your love. Love will guide us, peace will try us, home inside us, will lead the way on the road from greed to healing. Love will guide us through the hard night.
Now is the time for us to extinguish the chalice at UUFLB and within our homes. We extinguish the flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.
Our closing words come to us from the renowned author Alice Walker. Love is not concerned with whom you pray or where you slept the night you ran away from home. Love is only concerned that the beating of your heart should kill no one.
Please join me with our closing hymn, Let There Be Peace on Earth. Let there be peace on earth, and
Let it begin.
let there be peace on earth, the peace that was found to be. With earth as our mother, we are family. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my song vow. To take each moment and live each moment in peace.